Welcome to the Nintendo Power Zone, and this is Wild Odyssey. In 2017, Nintendo released two games that both have a rightful claim for the Game of the Year award. Both games have been critically and commercially successful and have sparked a debate. Which game is better? Our goal here with Wild Odyssey is to break the games down into multiple categories and place them head to head against one another to determine once and for all which game deserves the title of Game of the Year.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, jbrary here, and it's time to get down to the meat of these two heavyweight titles. That's right, gameplay Breath of the Wild versus Mario Odyssey. I'd like to begin by saying Nintendo did an excellent job bringing fresh new elements not found in previous installments of these franchises. Gameplay styles. Now then, I'll start with Breath of the Wild. Initially, I wanted to say this is the first Zelda game to boast an expansive world map. However, that would be forgetting the original Zelda for the NES. This is the first Zelda game, however, to have open world elements with seamless transitions. If you see it, you can go to it. That weird shaped mountain over there, you can hoof it, it'll load. No guarantee you'll find anything worthwhile, but this game is all about the exploration. With open world games being big on the market, it was only a matter of time before Nintendo tried their hand at it, and they couldn't have picked a better title to give the open world treatment to. Most of my time playing the game I spent trying to find the Shikai Towers and unlocking and charting out new parts of Hyrule to come back to later to explore. The mystery of what lay waiting, what surprises the next segment of land held, whether it be baddies, shrines, treasures, memories, whatever, that's what drove Breath of the Wild to captivate and keep us playing. Okay, let's talk about the Odyssey. Right off the bat, you know this is a platformer. It's a Mario, of course. However, there are elements present that set this game apart from Mario Galaxy or Mario 3D World. Fun worlds for Mario to run, jump, and somersault through. A large group of gamers love to talk about how Mario 64 was the last great Mario game. To a degree, they're right, but mainly because that was the first of its kind, Mario in a 3D platformer. In Mario Odyssey, it seems like those same elements are present. Mario has his original moveset from the Golden Age title, plus more with the help of Cappy. Battling baddies. When it comes to taking it to the baddies, Link and Mario have an all-new set of moves. Breath of the Wild brings something new to the table, the ability to amass a variety of distinct weapons with their own styles of combat. This great and exciting new feature comes with a catch. The weapons can break. That is, save for the Master Sword, which just loses power and needs to recharge over time. Swords, swords, swords. Oh, I love the variety of swords this game has to offer. Granted, like most players, I keep the hard to find and more coveted of weapons. You know the ones I'm referring to, those glorious Guardian blades that are rare to come by. Most blades Link comes across are good enough to dispatch the lowliest of mobs, but still take a good chunk of sturdiness. Link can dispatch his foes using different bows, ranging from a dank little mobile bow to a more stout-worthy soldier bow, arrows not included. Arrows for this weapon can be bought for a handsome sum of rupees or found, and they come in the usual assortments of fire, ice, light, and now including lightning and the guardian arrows. Link can come across a variety of shields to help parry his enemies' attacks. Bitch, please talk to the shield. After some time of progressing through the game, Link will gain access to new abilities via the Shikai Slate. So, probably one of the most fun abilities of this tablet is the Stasis Rune, because Moblin Bowling. For those who haven't played Breath of the Wild, what is wrong with you? Just kidding. Stasis allows you to freeze an applicable item in time. In the case of Moblin Bowling, a boulder. If you wax with a weapon on the boulder will add momentum, and once stasis times out and releases it, watch that baby fly into a small crowd of oblivious Moblins. Whee! Another ability allowing Link to deal with the baddies is the Bomb Rune. This rune grants Link access to an unlimited supply of round bombs and square bombs, both with a handful of good uses. Jumping back aboard the Odyssey, when it comes to Mario, we can expect our hero to come packing with power-ups such as fireballs and stars. Like always, Mario can stomp on enemies to dispatch them. However, in Super Mario Odyssey, in lieu of any of the standard power-ups, Mario gains a sentient hat named Cappy to dish out the damage. I find this to be the most unique idea in Odyssey. Cappy can be thrown to knock out enemies and collect coins, and is used in almost all of the boss battles. Of course, his biggest use is his ability to have Mario take control of various baddies. Not all the enemies Mario controls are used to combat other foes found in the world. A good chunk of these are used to explore and unlock power moons. Game progression. Setting off into the world of Breath of the Wild. How you go about furthering the story is completely up to you. After awakening, grabbing your initial mode of transportation, the glider, you're given the main quest to defeat Ganon. Unlike Odyssey, there's no race nor pressure to complete the objective. Through narrative, you are told that you have the option to complete mini temples known as shrines that give you spirit orbs, which can be traded in for an increase of Link's hearts, allowing him to survive longer, or an increase in stamina, allowing Link to perform actions such as climbing for longer periods of time, the charge slash, and sprinting. The narrative reveals that there are certain areas that hold memories that Link has lost. As you progress through the game, you will naturally come across half of these memories, but finding all of them are not essential to completing the game. Players will have to contend with cooking. Yes, cooking. As you explore Hyrule, you'll come across dozens of foods from apples to bananas to deer meat, boar meat, crabs, and various vegetation. These ingredients, when combined correctly, can create concoctions that grant resistance to weather, increase in stamina, increase in defense, increase in speed, and other useful buffs. Monsters will also drop parts that can be combined to make potions with buffs to attack and magic. Be wary though, mixing the wrong ingredients will yield a food so awful it's censored like tentacle porn. The overarching quest to get you closer to taking down Ganon are to seek out the Divine Beasts, which unlike the shrines are large and composed of multiple puzzles, and a final boss to contend with. After conquering these beasts, you are granted a special gift from each of the corresponding champions to help you on your way to defeat Calamity Ganon. Now some may be wondering, hey, what about the Master Sword? I found it interesting that some people completed the game without ever having found the Master Sword, let alone confronting the Divine Beasts. This is beyond me, but apparently with great skill and luck, you can confront and, by the grace of the gaming gods, beat Calamity Ganon without claiming the Master Sword, completing any of the shrines, or freeing the Divine Beasts. But I would like to note that following through with the intended route of beating Breath of the Wild, the game bosses did not present much of a challenge. I found the random Lionels, the monstrous rock ogres, and even the wizards to be more challenging than Calamity Ganon himself. A slight disappointment, but not a whole game killer. Now, back in Mario Odyssey, it appears to be the same old story. Bowser's kidnapped your woman, and you must track him down, kick his scaly butt, and win the day. Now, progression in this game is very linear. And what I mean by that is, in comparison to Breath of the Wild, there is no open world to get lost in. Mario Odyssey drops you into worlds referred to as kingdoms that are vibrantly different from one another. In each of these kingdoms, you are tasked with finding the power moons over the course of 17 of these levels. These power moons are essential to power the ship, the Odyssey. Each level requires a handsome amount of moons to be collected in order to proceed to the next kingdom. Throughout each kingdom, locating the moons can be as simple as ground pounding a peculiar bump in the ground, or using Mario's acrobatics to platform to an awaiting power moon. Sometimes, however, for example, in the Seaside Kingdom or Lost World Kingdom, Mario must enlist the help of Cappy to take control of his enemies to find the power moons. Various examples of this are the Stretch Caterpillar in the Lost World Kingdom to safely traverse the Poison Swamp, taking control of the tanks in New Donk City to blast away enemy tanks revealing pathways that lead to a power moon, or forcing your new gliding dino friend to his doom in the name of claiming a power moon. Though each kingdom contains a plethora of power moons to be found, not all of them are needed to proceed, though collecting all the power moons throughout the game grants a small Easter egg. No spoilers. Now, talking about the game controls, the first thing that I would like to highly note and talk about is the motion controls that are implemented in these games. Now, Nintendo has had a history of implementing motion controls. Well, sometimes these seem to be okay, other times it felt forced and just atrocious. Now, I can confidently say that Breath of the Wild and Odyssey handle them well in their own respective rights, but that's not to say that there aren't a few drawbacks. Now, this is not too new to the Zelda series. Motion controls they had in this game were used for like aiming Link's bow and the ability to throw the assortment of weapons that he had, no matter what they might be. And personally, though, I find there would be a little bit of ease of aim when using the motion control method. I kind of feel it's more accurate than aiming with the stick, and I actually liked it more. The drawback to the motion controls, however, I would have to say, is going to be when you had to use magnesis for some of the puzzles. And I can feel some of you nodding your head when I say this, because I think we all had that same kind of gripe, because these puzzles were frustrating. Specifically, I want to point out the maze puzzle you had to do, where you had the giant boulder, and you had to flip the maze around to get the boulder to the end, and it was just so frustrating because of the motion controls, and just, ugh. So yeah, my single gripe with the motion controls in Zelda was just with magnesis and some of the puzzles you had to do. Sometimes you would use magnesis to move the metal grates that you had to walk over. Sometimes they wouldn't connect just right, and you would fall to your death. Now, when it came to the regular control scheme, and I'm talking about like non-motion controls, I found that I had to actually rearrange them a little bit in order for the control scheme to flow, because out of the box, the game comes with A as action, B is your sprint, X is your jump and your climb, and Y is your attack. And I'm just like, I had to switch this around to where A was my jump, B was my attack, and then X and Y were sprint. And it was a little disorienting. But good on the game developers for allowing you to remap the controls to a way that would suit you. Now, as far as locking on enemies, using your shield, and drawing your bow, they're exactly where you can expect them to be, right up at the shoulder buttons, the corresponding ZL and ZR buttons. A side note, and some of you may disagree or agree with me on this, but sometimes reaching for your bow may accidentally find you pressing the R button and throwing that very shiny new weapon off into the lake when you just want to draw your bow to try and take a shot at that dragon. Other side. Pressing the directional pads will allow you to quickly switch between swords, shields, and held items. Pressing down on the directional pad will actually summon a horse nearby if you have one. The minus button will pull up your Shikai slate so you can access your map, your quest log, your rune, missions, destinations, and other memories, etc., etc. While the pause button will bring up your inventory, allowing you to check your armor, your weapons, and allow you to combine items for the aforementioned cooking, for making potions and whatnot. Yeah, jumping back to Super Mario Odyssey, the motion controls featured in this game, they're pretty painless, and oftentimes I find it fun to use. Granted though, it seems like it's easier to execute some of the motion controls with just the Joy-Cons by themselves. For example, shaking them side to side to have Cappy spin around Mario is one thing I use a lot, but it seems easier executed with the Joy-Con controls than with the Pro Controller that I'm used to using. Now, talking about regular controls, as I mentioned before, Mario's well-known moves from Mario 64 are back in this game. The ability to wall jump, the ability to somersault back and forth to get to higher places, and now with the addition of Cappy, you're able to actually use him as an extra platform to get an extra jump. Now, when first starting off in Mario Odyssey, it's very easy to immediately grasp the control scheme to make Mario do his most iconic moves, such as the triple jump, the long jump, and the somersault. Now, I feel like this natural ability to pick up these controls are due to Nintendo's decision to have the layout of the controllers be similar to that of the Super Nintendo, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but the A, B, and X, Y buttons are exactly as they would appear on a Super Nintendo controller. So this made playing Super Mario Odyssey easy to pick up, especially for those of us who are well acquainted with the Super Mario series. Now, the only new moves to Mario's repertoire, other than Cappy being used as a extra platform, is the roll ability into the jump ability, which gives Mario extra momentum for his jumps. It is a nice addition to his moveset. Now it comes down to the final choice, Breath of the Wild or Super Mario Odyssey. While Super Mario Odyssey was a joyful, relaxing adventure with sprinkles of nostalgia, Breath of the Wild never ceased to hold my attention and make me crave to revisit Hyrule to uncover more secrets, monsters to fight, weapons, and armor to collect, and with its newest expansions, even greater challenges to face. I choose The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
So that's going to conclude our third episode of Wild Odyssey. Things are really starting to heat up with Breath of the Wild holding a slight edge. Tune in every week from now until February for a brand new episode of Wild Odyssey. And if you enjoy this content, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on Wild Odyssey, subscribe to the Nintendo Power Zone right here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. Deuces.